emergency. Emergencies take you by surprise. But God is now. He's always now. Nothing is new to him. Nothing is beyond his knowledge. There are no uncertainties, no unreachables, no unsolvables, no impossible with God. You gotta take that in, folks. You gotta take that in.
Oh yes. Yes.
Get to think about your life.
Oh yes. Yes.
What you're going through.
Yes.
We're gonna be talking about that a little bit in this sermon. I like that song. Back when the choir sings that one.
Yes, yes.
Let us pray. Father God, we bless you and thank you for this day.
Oh, yes.
And I especially thank you for this day. You've been so good to me.
Yes, Lord.
I thank you for the way you blessed me.
Yes.
I thank you for the way you held me up.
Yes.
I thank you for the way you kept me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, keep on, Lord.
Yes.
Because I am nothing without you.
Yes.
Bless your people now, that which you have given me for them.
Yes.
May we all be better able to live our lives once we've heard your word.
All right.
Hear our prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Elijah's cave. Elijah's cave. C-A-V-E. The text is from 1 Kings 19th chapter. Verses 11 to 13. The Lord said, "Go out and stand on the mountain in the presence of the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by." Then a great and powerful wind tore the mountain apart and shattered the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. And Elijah heard it. He pulled his cloak over his face and went out and stood at the mouth of the cave. Elijah's cave. First Kings 17:1 simply introduces Elijah as the Tishbite from Tisbah in the province of Gilead. The only reference to the Gileadites in the Bible indicates that they were renegades. Individuals who rejected the lawful and conventional behavior of everyone else.
Yes. Yes.
God chose this Tishbite out of nowhere to deliver his judgment against King Ahab for the evil that he had done during his reign as king, and for marrying Jezebel, a worshiper of the foreign god Baal, and for worshiping and serving Baal instead of the Lord God of Israel. As the Lord, the God of Israel lives, there will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years except in my word, to confront Ahab and Jezebel, a dangerous royal couple with this judgment was a bold and daring thing to do. But it shows that Elijah was a man who could stand alone for God.
Yes.
Because he was ready to obey and trust God.
Yes.
And he was also a man of prayer.
Amen.
Yes, he just showed up in Israel, bringing his divine judgment on the behavior of the king over God's people. He was uncompromising in his prophetic activity. A wild man from the desert, dressed only in hairy cloth, held to his body by a belt, unpolished but righteous. In chapter 18, read in our hearing, Elijah challenged the prophets of Baal, the god honored by the royal house, to a duel on Mount Carmel with the Lord God of Israel. The Lord God of Israel won, and Elijah supervised the death of 450 prophets of Baal. These bold and spectacular acts were not without their consequences. Jezebel had not been present for either of these two events. When she was informed by King Ahab, she sent a message to Elijah informing him that she had committed herself to his death within 24 hours.
All right.
Let's examine Elijah's response. First thing he did was he ran to escape the wrath of Jezebel. This man of God, who had the nerve to stand up before them and tell them that their land was going to be subject to drought, neither dew nor rain was going to fall, unless God said so.
Yes.
Was running.
Yes.
Why? This man of God, who had achieved a great victory on Mount Carmel, was running. Why? This man of God, who had boldly and in an unconquering manner pronounced judgment on the king for the evil in his reign, and from the queen at that, was running from the king and from the queen at that. Why? Maybe he thought that what the Lord had done through him on Mount Carmel was more than enough to bring Ahab and Jezebel to their knees, that they would repent, that they would turn around, turn away from these false gods. It had been a powerful display of God's power. But apparently all it had done was to fiercely anger the royal couple.